Welcome to Turku Saatanalle 2024 or XI 11th edition. Here we are in Turku, my home city, and this is obviously Rauta and Jerry, your host, hopefully entertaining you and educating you with this interesting band who will soon get to introduce themselves to you. And why this is so special, it might feel a little bit exotic because of their background, even though now working from Germany. Let's start introducing the people of the hour. Sir, please state your name and position in the band.
Hi, my name is Magus, and I play antique and oriental acoustic instruments with the wind stuff in the band.
All right, and you?
Hi, I'm Vlad or Seretus. I play bass, and I'm the main lyricist for the band.
And you, ma'am?
I'm Charuk, and I do the vocals and also frame drum in Darkestrah.
Now, let's get to your background. You mentioned prior to starting this interview that neither of you three people is the original members, and the one who would have, say, difficulties in making this in English language. So you get to introduce the whole thing. Where is this band from, and what is the style of the band?
All right.
Music.
All right, let's try it. So the band was started in Kyrgyzstan, in Bishkek, the capital, in 1999, and they've even recorded the first album there. But in the early 2000s, the band moved to Germany. It's based in Leipzig, and through the time, through the time and lineup changes, it's like an international band now, because people are coming from very different backgrounds, but it's still rooted in Central Asian culture and Central Asian musical tradition. And we define our music as epic shamanic black metal.
Shamanic black?
Yes, okay. Because, which is just a fitting description, so it's these are the parts of the epic bombast and militant sounding music on one hand, and on the other hand, more ritualistic, more atmospheric stuff, and rooted in shamanic tradition a bit of shamanic tradition of Central Asia. Yes, we're operating until now, and we played yesterday.
And the thing is, I find your music fascinating because, it doesn't really sound very typical, say, European black metal. Doesn't matter whether you're talking about mid-Europe or North or South or all that stuff. And obviously that comes from the background that you are originated coming from mid-Asia and all that stuff. And of course, that what we joked before starting this interview, can we call you a Mongol band because of all the background, how the big vast history was there, and now Mongols took Germany and by the storm, and is this the Genghis Khan legacy?
A bit, yeah. Mongolian culture is a bit related to Kyrgyz culture, though they're also a bit different. Yeah.
Now, you mentioned that you're international background. I was checking out some basic things when I was preparing for an interview and looking up your discography and all that stuff. You are a bunch of people from various nationalities. What brought you together? Do you mind starting? What brought you to this band, for example?
The first thing I heard from Darkestrah was the Epos song, which is 30 minutes long song. And immediately when I heard the vocals, I felt really connected, and I was listening to this song over and over on the loop when I had this MP3 player when I came to Germany. And the interesting part was all these, as Vlad said, these shamanic parts, and also the vocals that was presented very deep, and also the whispers that Tanya was the first vocalist was chanting, and it was for me very related to nature, and also this female part of the black metal in general, because for me black metal is very feminine, not related to gender or something, only the spirit is very feminine, it's very atmospheric. So that's why I really connected to this band, and later on we get to know each other through other bands that we have, Nashme, and then we really get connected and we decided to join the band.
What about you, sir? You're not exactly from Germany, neither. So what is your story with the band?
Yeah, my background is Iranian, and I had also history in playing several bands, forming and multi-instrumentalist. But especially what I brought to Darkestrah is in the record, you hear the antique instruments, the acoustic, like ancient ones. And I have the big collection and I mastered it for a few years. So I said, yeah, I'm going to bring it real to a stage because, of course, in home studio, in a studio, you can add, those parts or samples. But I want to bring the real one on a stage. And that's the difficult part regarding the sound because no one really craft the technique to grab this sound. And that we have complained yesterday, the people from back couldn't hear my instruments, divan, as I play. So, yeah, this is the new beginning for me to represent this ancient culture.
Now, back to you then again, Vlad. You are from Germany, and
I'm not originally. I was born in Russia.
So you're from Russia. So we have like 3 different nationalities coming to Germany and making the way. How does it feel for you? Like, put all the pieces of the puzzle together.
The thing is, I was like sort of enthusiast of like nomadic cultures for my whole life. I'm like sort of history nerd, and this was one of the great conquests of the great nomadic conquest. It was one of my favorite periods in history. And when I found out that such band exists, I was like really interested. And then by like pure chance, I met our drummer. He lived like around the corner from me, from where I live. So I came to Germany like in late 2004, and he was already living there for a couple of years. And then So we got acquainted, and then he asked me to help with the lyrics. I wrote the lyrics for the album called Pagan, and then he invited me to join on bass. And I've been there ever since, and I was already a fan before I met them, because this topic interests me and the music is awesome. And yes, that's how it went.
Now, talking about the lyrics and topics of the theme, I noticed when I was listening to some of their previous albums and also the new upcoming album, by the way, I got the digital promo, sounds like really promising, but what really struck me with the titles and all, that you have really these Central Asian and even Far East stories like the Silk Road and all that stuff. Now, you mentioned you being a history nerd. I mean, everything makes now click, like the topics and all, but how important part is the history when like you're going to introduce certain characters, be it a certain con of the history back in the days, or topics like the Silk Road?
Yeah, well, that's very important because, I do my research. Every time I start writing lyrics, I do my research. I read the books. I compare like the sources, because it's really important. It has to be authentic. It has to be to say not to sound fake, not to sound like Hollywood.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's a very important part of our lyrical content.
Can we even go to as far as to say you're kind of autistic when it comes to these facts and details?
Autistic, yeah.
I don't know.
I understand.
You have to go down to details.
But yes, I pretty much do a lot of research before writing lyrics.
Do you ever get feedback from the art, like from the fans saying, like, actually, it's not like that, but it's? Do you ever?
Actually, not really.
So you're that well done, like people are like, okay, I think
probably it's either that or nobody cares.
Well, those are the actual two good options. Yeah. Well, talking about your background, you're Iranian, and always I've got to know some Iranian bands and some people coming from Iran, and of course that's a country which is not too welcoming when it comes to extreme music, extreme metal, when it comes to like old school religions and all that stuff. And everybody in the world of black metal knows that black metal and religions are not exactly the best buddies. They don't go home and have sex and all that sweet. So your story coming from a country that is kind of like, nope, you're not supposed to do that. How did you manage that? Or was it more like giving a middle finger about it?
Yeah, of course, double middle finger, and I was the lucky one because the rest I remember was get executed. So I have a bunch of good memories with the people. So it's by the way, there is a Finnish guy, a Finnish team who made a documentary about our life.
Yeah.
So it's called Persian Black Metal Story.
That was related to, from the Westlands, I think, also.
No, that's about us.
Okay,
Yeah.
but yeah, us. Okay. Are you?
And I explained over there what's happened from beginning jail, they broken and torture and stuff. So painful part. So it's not easy because, as you mentioned, religion, especially Islam, when they capture our country.
Yeah.
So we are like hostages, and we cannot think, we cannot do or experience freedom. And music-wise, especially black metal, that's like a straight.
Yeah.
So they don't like it, and the introduction of the video I mentioned, in 24 hours they will find you and execute you.
Yeah.
And it's a reality. It's really harsh. We have a big black metal scene there. It's all underground.
Yeah.
They found name and pictures, you end your life easily. But that was, as I mentioned, I was lucky. I was passionate, so I could come out and I could spread the news that we have this kind of flavor of black metal to show.
I mean, that's really, really respectable that you were able to do your art and escape and keep doing it, and of course being alive first and foremost. What was your opinion? Why they are so keen to persecute people who just want to make music, even if it's the devil's music? I mean, it's not like you are killing people by making certain notes.
Well, music in Islam is haram. Haram is forbidden, and Islam is not religion. Even it's kind of dictatorship in a form of a slavery. So if you see it, Islam as a religion, then you get conflict with a misunderstanding in general. But when you see it as a system, like a bank is a system. So their corruption is within, but it's the next level of a slavery. That's the way how it's designed. So it's really complicated to play with it because you will lose.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, it's spread really fast because it's designed for stupid people. And when they grab it, you are ready to kill. And it doesn't matter which kind of music or which kind of fashion or art is like forbidden. I mean, the music and art coming from the thinking and imagination, and expression. But in this system, you should not think. It's like,
So it means when you do art, you think too much, then you're supposed to die.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
That's crazy. Now, we don't want to go too much into dark corners of the world, but we want to touch another topic also. Now, everybody knows that being a female artist in a world of very masculine way of black metal, not the way that you define the feminine ways, but, being a female artist in a world where everybody's hanging out with dicks, how hard it was you to, find your way and hey, I want to make music, I want to be taken seriously, I will find my own way and I will prove it to you. How hard it was for you, or was it easy all the way?
I mean, from the first step, if I want to step back, I completely somehow, unconsciously eliminated this gender part in my, subconscious maybe. Because in Iran, living in Iran, because I lived 30 years in Iran, and there is very religiously dominated, and they are really focused on these gender identification, and they are really focusing on women doing that and men doing that. So from childhood, or I don't know, I don't remember from when, but since I remember, I just wanted to just delete all these gender focusing thing, and just to be a human and focus on my powers and what I can do and what I cannot do. I never thought about, oh, this is something that men do. Should I compete with them or no? Should I stay in my female zone? So for me, it was always no, I'm a human. I have the energy, same energy, and I try to, for sure, my feminine energy is more dominant, and I try to use that. And when I came and I started black metal, always people come to me and say, how do you feel as a female? I say, I never felt as a female or male or something like this. I just felt like a human in between other humans, and we are all powerful, and we are all focusing on like expressing extreme for the freedom, and we all have these powerful energies. And for me, that was the point. And I never saw them as men or women. For me, it was we are human, and we are also we are all strong in mind, not only in body. And that was something that I was always connected to them and not separated with them or compare myself.
Yeah, one could really make the argument that, art has no genders, like whether it's graphics, whether it's music, whether it's any kind of a thing. I mean, art is art, despite whatever the gendership is. But a lot of community for metal is like, okay, guys play bass, drums, whatever. And when women comes into play, people are like, I don't know, how should we react to that? It seems like, okay, you get to have keyboards and you get to sing because you're female, but that's pretty much of it. Don't touch our instruments. Do you ever get like that kind of a thing?
Never, because I think also when you as a person approach with this mentality to men, they also see you as a woman. But if you approach people like we are human, and you approach with this mentality that we are human, and you just set aside this gender thing, they also act you or react with you with the same mentality. You connect in another level, because we are living in a there is like a constructed reality for us that separate us. But if you connect with people in another level, in another, dimension, then they also communicate with you with the same energy and not low energy. They communicate with you with that energy. And for me, it never happened to me that they see me as a little woman or things like that, or they tell me something, because there was always either respect, like communication, or as Vlad said, nobody cares. They never approached me because I didn't see them or they didn't see me. So it was like nothing. Or we really communicated with heart and energy. So for me, that was the experience.
Well, that's quite a lot to digest. Now, steering a little bit back to the music, however, Darkestrah music, like you mentioned, you had this shamanistic take, and there's a lot of black metal takes, and also one could make the statement with the epicness comes the folkier part, which is more like traditional music elements. You mentioned the ancient instruments and all. How is creating music Darkestrah like when you have to take a lot into account making this music work?
So normally it goes like that. So we write the basic riffs and the drum parts, and during the composition we think about, okay, this part will be for traditional instruments. This part will be we'll add some sort of sample or some sort of atmospheric part. So basically, actually, riffs always come first, and like that traditional, like the real, like the metal part comes first, and then everything else is like added. But when the riffs are composed, they're already during the arrangement process. We already have in mind that there will be traditional parts here or there, and then Magus and Sharuk add them to the mix, and then we listen to the whole and see, okay, it works. Now, yeah.
The question is, who writes most of the riffs? Who gets to be the captain of the ship?
My guitarist, he's the main composer.
Do you ever have like fights, like, okay, you're gonna be challenging as a bassist, like, okay, you need to scrap this idea or bring this bass line here, riff and whatever, or is it like, okay, you're the captain, you call the shot?
Not really. So we discuss the arrangements, but it's never like really conflicting.
Okay.
So it's.
Are you a democratic band or a dictatorship-based band in that sense?
It depends.
It depends.
It depends on the situation. Yeah.
You get to buy the pizzas and all. No, jokes aside, I mean, this is something that I understand and ask because, like being in myself in the various bands, and I know a lot of bands work differently. Some need a certain captain who writes most of the stuff, and everybody gets more like shut the fuck up until you do your own parts. And then there are these democratic bands who like everybody tosses ideas around, and then it's one happy party, and somehow things just fall in place. So, what is your story?
I don't want to just categorize as a dictatorship or democratic. We are all-star bands, which we have each one master and crafted the things they do, and we share it together. So it's teamwork for us, and it's so pleasant. We don't have inner fight or inner configuration.
So you're like a sports team in that sense that everybody has.
In a way, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, talking about your so-called traditional instruments, do you have certain favorites? Like, this is my favorite, baby. I want to include a little bit more than the other ones.
It's so hard to say. I mean, the challenge or the beauty I would represent to each album of Darkestrah is for each album I bring like 4 or 5 new instruments to that.
That's quite a lot to digest. And like, hey, I got to find it. This is the old instrument from 1700.
Because they wrote the material and I listened and I said, oh, that's because it's based on tuning. And then I categorized as a region because Asia is pretty much huge. And each city or little things, they have a own ancient traditional things. So I'm enthusiastic to pick them up and retuned and match it and then develop the melody as it sounds. And I have my old text resources about ancient languages. So I'm pretty much struggling between those to make the best of it and represent it.
Do they ever, I mean, the other people in the band, they're like, nope, now you're going too far. That instrument is not fitting Darkestrah. Or like, you bring whatever, we'll just give it a go.
There was always discussion in the studio because of tunings for sure, because the main riff based on guitar. So somehow I need to retune closest harmonic-wise. Not very dissonant, but somehow dissonant to that. Yeah, there is a little configuration for that.
Now, you doing the vocals, how much you have a say, like, hey, I want to do it this and that way, or is everybody else like, okay, you fail, you wait until we're done, and then you get out to vocal parts?
I mean, actually, the vocal parts, they let me free to do whatever I want as a style. But for sure, they have like structure, where to do the vocals and where not, to let the melody, because Darkestrah is also very melodic band, and sometimes the melodies had to stand out. So while they are composing the music, they have these parts that needs to be like to be heard, like the melodies and everything. So but style-wise, they let me free to do whatever I want to do, if it's screams or it's more like talking style. And I have to also have the lyrics in mind, how they fit nicely in the composition.
How much you two talk to one another about you having the lyrics, you being the history nerd, and you being the interpreter about like how these parts like work and all?
It doesn't talk to me. Yes.
No, I wrote you. I explain. I will send you the lyrics and I explain you more or less. Yeah, more or less what it's about. But I trust Sharuk. I trust her choice because in the end. In my opinion,
the women is the ball.
No. In the end, the how it sounds is in the end more important than the contents. Because if it sounds like shit, the contents doesn't matter.
Well, you could make the argument that sometimes you have to drop certain words away, even though the sentence doesn't really make sense. But okay. Okay. Now we're steering a little bit towards the end. And this is one of my favorite annoying questions. Let's start with you. If you get to start with like, this is the song you should start listening to Darkestrah with, like pick only one song. Not an album, but one song you should like, this is the way to start listening to Darkestrah. What do you do?
I mean, I still would say Epos, because Epos is a combination of everything that Darkestrah has to say. So it has like shamanic parts, and it has nomadic parts, and also very strong orchestration. So I would say Epos, a 30-minute song, has everything that Darkestrah has to say. It's very visual, and it will take you into journey that is from another realm. So, because Darkestrah is a very visual musical band, and Epos gives me a lot of like visions and it's like a dream.
Okay. What about you? And now this is excluded. You cannot rename it.
I can't remember Epos. Okay.
Okay. No.
Okay. So the so the other choice would
One
be
song. Yeah.
the other choice would probably be Kautengri, which is from the next album. So Epos was the third album, and the Great Silk Road was the fourth album, and probably the most popular song from that album is Kautengri, and it is based on a traditional melody that turns into a black metal song, and it's in my opinion it's a very interesting development, and it's also what we can offer what a lot of what other bands don't. So we base our music on traditional melodies, but we develop them into a black metal song.
All right. Very good answer. And now it's your turn, but these two are excluded.
No. I mean, before I know or we know Darkestrah, we was listening to it. And with Epos, as you mentioned, it's visual album. We hear it in the darkness. I cry with it. It's like one of my best memories. With some people is alive, some of them is dead. So it's really special. And the best part is we came to Germany and we're doing our band's things, and we have the common friend because we have no idea about Darkestrah is in Germany. And he's from Turkey, and they are metalheads, so they run this part. And we got connection. I said, "Oh, you came to Germany? That's amazing!" And then he connect us and said, "Do you know Darkestrah?" I said, "Of course I know them." I said, "Oh, they are in Leipzig." I said, "Are you kidding me?" And said, "I will connect you." And that was the connection between us to joining. And beside the history part, I would love to express on Epos, if I may, or no?
No, you got to give something else. They're already mentioned, so
Epos and Kautengri.
I mean, the good stuff they say. Mud and Venom.
Mud and Venom, yeah, it's from our latest. Our latest release that already came out is a mini code generic, and first song. It's also the first song we played today. Yesterday, I mean, the Gift of Mud and Venom, which is, I guess all of the first song we all wrote together.
Exactly, that's my first starting with this band, and for that, I had like thousands of instruments, and for me was like, but where should I start? So I figure really weird ancient instrument which was out of tuning, so I take it to many shops as I can, and I made it the intro for that song.
Beautiful. Now, word of wisdom to your younger self. Let's do it in the reverse order. Now, you see in the mirror your younger version, say 20 years ago. What kind of tip you would give to this guy? Like, you are going to play in a band and you need to know what?
I'll come again.
Like, give a tip to your younger version or somebody on the other side of camera. Like, I want to be like you guys. What do I need to know? And you get to be the elder man giving a tip.
Well, the things I know, life is short and you will die soon. So get ready, express whatever you has a dream, because it's really short. And you need to push it, because there is a tempo in life when we might collaborate, but I don't believe in it. You need to push. You need to defeat life to reach your goals. And not one instrument is enough. You need to be multi-instrument. Not one language is enough. You need to be multi-language. You need to have it 10 times more than life.
That's pretty much to swallow. What about you? What do you would tell to the audience or younger version of yourself?
To the younger version of myself, I would tell that if me had a choice between drinking beer and practicing instrument,
you would
always
drink beer.
Come on.
No. I mean, the younger version of me would always pick beer.
Yeah.
Now, I think that was a mistake.
Well, you are forgiven. What about you, man? What do you would say to the audience? Like, okay, this is my best tip if you're about to start a singing career or forming a band.
I mean, I would say never stuck in, as I said before, in a constructed reality that is built for us and it's literally built for us, because there are other realities that we can just jump out of this one and go and find the power that is hidden from us, especially to my maybe Iranian friends, that because war will always be there and money problem will always be there. These are the things that maybe we don't have in a bigger echelon I'm talking about. We are not, we don't have the hand to change it, but what we can change is the perception, that how we look at the power that we have and how to channel it. And just as Magus said, live the dream. Just, can I swear?
Of course. This is Rauta, come on. At the Bible TV.
Just give fuck about what's happening sometimes. If you cannot change it, give a fuck about what you can change and focus on that. And this is the only thing that we have. This is the only thing that we have is our vision, our dream, and we truly can transform that. Bigger, smaller, doesn't matter, just to move it a bit every day, a little bit. And because then you can sleep peacefully that today I moved something toward my dream. So
that's a good amount of philosophy for.
I mean, beside that, the oil and gas is still there. That's a big problem, you know. That's the things make problem for us. I mean, we have a deep, long history, and the oil and gas is
you never can change.
Make it unbalanced. So you need to jump out of this matrix, and if you don't do it, they will chew you and they will spit it. That's the reality.
That's definitely the kind of a pessimistic take. Now, since we want to end in good vibes only, again, and last question for you, my friend. What will happen in Darkestrah for next 5 years?
So first of all, in the end of this month, a new album is coming out.
Probably after this interview, it's probably out by the end.
Yes, that's also March 29th. And then this year is also 25 years Darkestrah, so we'll try to do, so after that we'll try to do as much as possible in the live department, so to play around the world, to get to see people, to get to see countries. This is our main goal. We also have other plans, but I guess I won't disclose them now because it's not yet. It's not really clear how it will come out. But yeah, so after the album is coming out, we'll try to play as much as we can, to play live as much as we can.
So next 5 years you will play as much as you can.
I hope so.
Okay, this is the really last question. If you get to pick one place out of all the possibilities, even the impossible places, where should Darkestrah play?
That's a good question, because
Kyrgyzstan.
Kyrgyzstan, yeah. Well, to come back to Kyrgyzstan,
well, that would
be awesome, because it's Kyrgyzstan is pretty far away from Germany, and it's hard to organize there, and it's hard to organize the trip. So yeah, it would be awesome.
But that's the source, that's the hometown. So
now this is a very, very good excuse to conclude everything and say, in 5 years' time, when the band is 30 years old, going back home. So people out there who might be watching this from Kyrgyzstan, get the band home, get on home soil, and get it done. Celebrate big times. Now, people, I have a question for you, or more like task for you on the other side of the camera. Check out these people' music. They are good people. They make interesting, good music. So your homework is to check them out. Now, off you go in whatever order you prefer, but you got some suggestions, some recommendations from the people right here. So I hope you will enjoy their music as much as I've been enjoying. And now off you go. This is Rauta. This is Turku Saatanalle 2024. This is Darkestrah. good night.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
What's up? And before you go, let's take a photo for the social media purposes and also personal memorabilia.
Of course.
Thank you. We will just take this with us.